This podcast will fail. Mostly because nobody's going to listen to it. But you might prove me wrong. Who knows? At episode 43, and hello, how are ya? I'm just some guy. Who I am and where I am is completely irrelevant to the conversations that I come here to have with you and with myself. This is season 3, where I want you to tell me your story. And I've got a question for you, a different question every week. This week I want to know, what's important to you? So click on the little link there in the description below to jump over to the Anchor.fm site, and you can very quickly leave me a message. Talk to me. Let me hear your voice. I want to include you in this podcast. I want to find out from you this week what's important to you. It can be just about anything. There's no wrong answer. Different things and different people, and it doesn't matter if it's a person, a place, a memory, a thing, an object, an idea, your values, your beliefs. What's important to you? Send me that message, and I will include it here in the podcast, and I will tell your story instead of just my own, which is what I've been doing for a while now. So every week I'm going to bring a different question, and this week I wanted to start on kind of a positive one, and I like the question, what's important to you? Because it is such a wide open type of question. It can be so many different things to so many different people. I talked a little bit about my family. I talked yesterday about a concept that was important to me. Today I want to turn to a person. I want to turn to an actual person, and someone who is very important to me is my wife. And the reason I'm specifically talking about this today is it is our wedding anniversary. And I have been married to an amazing woman for 26 years today. And when I do some interesting math on that, I've been married for more than half of my life. I turned 45 years old about a week or so back, and I've been married for 26 years, which is pretty freaking cool. Not a lot of young marriages make it that far. So I want to know, is there a person who is important to you? Who's the most important person in your life? Again, it'll take you as long as you want, really, but it'll only take you a minute. Click below. Like I said, there's a link down there to tell me your story. If you're on a phone, it's even easier. If you're listening to this on your handheld device, you don't have to listen to the rest of this. That's fine. I'm gonna spend the next 15 plus minutes talking about my wife and our life together and marriage and that kind of stuff. So you may not want to hear all that. It may not be your thing, and that's cool. That's fine. I'm really more interested in hearing about you and who you are. You don't need to tell me your name. You don't need to tell me where you are. The names can be changed to protect the innocent and not so innocent alike. So I will get on then with my story. So I met my wife in high school. I was a senior in high school, and she was a junior. I had actually met her prior to that when she was a freshman, but it was a very brief, a very, very quick interaction, and it wasn't necessarily memorable in that context. At that point, I was an interesting individual. I was a much more questionable individual in high school, and I know from her perspective that first memory of me is some jackass flying up to the bench that she and her girlfriends were sitting on and saying something stupid, which is par for the course with me, and then bouncing away like Tigger. But it was that second time I had noticed her. I had seen her a bunch of times out front of school, and was just like, dang, man, that chick's hot. She's got to be awesome. How do I get on? How do I get under that radar? How do I get on that radar, and how do I get under those defenses? She had a definite, like, I'll tell you, she had a vibe of arrogance, right? She seemed visually from a distance to be a little bit stuck up, a little, someone that I thought would be a challenge, to say the least. I thought would be unreachable for a person of my status at the time. So one day comes along, and I see her standing against a wall with her friends, and I tig her on over like I do, and I insert myself in the conversation, something I do. And there was some flirting. There was a little bit of flirting going on. And just the spur of the moment, there was no real thought process behind this. I came up with a move, and I made my move. I took a penny out of my pocket. Now, this is 1992, 93 or 93, I guess. Yeah, 93. This is 1993, early in the year. By today's standards, what I did would have been completely unacceptable as a 17-year, going on, 17-year-old kid. She was wearing this sweater. Good Christ, this sweater. So I lobbed the penny towards her chest, and it landed perfectly like a Plinko board. And the penny slid down and landed in the pocket. It's fantastic. Now, that was only half of the move. The other half of the move was when I feigned horror. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Let me get that for you. And mockingly reach forward as if I'm going to help retrieve the penny from within her bra. Absolutely unacceptable, especially by today's standards. If any boy tried to make that move on my 15-year-old daughter, I would bust his ass to oblivion. But this was the 90s, and it was a different time, and unbelievably, it worked. I don't know why it worked. I question her judgment. Could be quite frank about it. And it wasn't too much longer before found myself going to her house to visit, right? Much more conversations, more flirtations, more hemming and hawing around, but asking her out. Am I going to ask her out? And we ended up getting together. The first date was there was a movie theater in town that was showing the live action, how we did in the 90s, live action Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's a first date, huh? I'll never forget my father-in-law staring down at me, because he was a big dude, staring down at me in the front entry hall of his house, looking at my 81 Olds Cutlass Supreme, and it's snowy and slushy out there. And he looks at me and says, "So let me understand this. You are taking my daughter in that vehicle 4 miles up this road to the movie theater, and you are returning her here safely by 11 p.m. Do I understand that correctly?" "Yes, sir, you do." Because, listen, I may have been a hard case, I may have been a headbanger, I may have been all black metal and all of my bullshit, but that was not a man that I was prepared to screw with. Okay, so that's part one of the story. Part two of the story is that we ended up together. We bonded hard when she had to have surgery, and the surgery was rough on her. And I fell so hard for her, and I ended up at her bedside and stayed with her through the hospital stay. I found out later on that my father-in-law has told me that when he walked in that day into the hospital room and I had not left, he knew it was over for him and that I was here to stay. That was a big inflection point. That was the first time that I found that someone else was more important than myself, right? I was a very selfish person as a teenager. I was very I was not a good person, bottom line. She made me want to be a good person. And that experience bonded us even further. What I also was, and I guess it really depends on interpretation, still am, but was an alcoholic. I drank a lot. I was a volume drinker. I was never an angry or violent drunk, which was good, but I was a constant drunk in high school. Part two of that bonding process between us was she basically gave me an ultimatum and said, look, your drinking's too much. It's out of control. And, I love you, but you have to make a choice. It's either going to be you're with me or you're drunk, but you can't have both. And that was a no-brainer. Like, it was an instant decision. I mean, then I'm done. Then we're together, and we're going to stay together. That's just how it's going to be. And never look back. Unfortunately, did fall off the wagon once when I was 25, and I'm going to talk to you about that in a few months in December. I'm going to tell that story, December 20th of the year 2000. But that's a story for another day when I fell off the wagon. But she cleaned me up, right? I got her through that surgery. She got me sober and turned me into a better person. So here we are. I'm 18 years old, and I've graduated. I'm already out of high school. I graduated when I was 17, and I wanted to get out of my parents' house. She kind of wanted to get out of her parents' house a little bit. I had the opportunity to get an apartment on my own, like 15 miles away in the boonies, like in the edge of a rural area. She's in the city. So there had been talk, and I think older teenage couples probably do this more than I know, I can't say that this is valid or accurate, but I had kind of not quite proposed to her and said, at one point I knew I want to spend my life with you. I knew that. And I think that she kind of felt in the affirmative, so it was kind of like an unofficial proposal at some point in that year. Well, now this apartment complex comes up, and it's, like I said, it's like way out, 15 miles away from anywhere. Transportation's an issue, one car, she's still in school. Now she's graduated. That's right. She graduated. It was a week before I turned 19, and I had said to her, come live with me. Just come live with me. Come live with me. And she just couldn't. She couldn't do it. And her parents were definitely not behind it. Like, they cannot countenance having the two of you live together and not be married. That's not cool. That's not copacetic. It can't happen. So, me still being sort of the young, impulsive person that I was, then said, all right, then let's get married. Marry right now, right? Let's do it. Drop the knee. Where's the ring? Let's do this. And she lost her mind, and she said yes. So a week before I turned 19, we packed 23 people into a basement, one-bedroom apartment in a rent-controlled complex on the edge of nowhere. And we got a judge from the local town. We got a CD player from the library with a wedding march on compact disc. And we decorated the entertainment center. And we got married. I just looked at the picture this morning, too, because, of course, it comes up in the Facebook memories. That was a great day. And it's been 26 years to the day since we took that leap. And look, it hasn't always been easy, right? Nothing worth doing is ever necessarily easy. And we've had our trials, we've had our challenges, we've had some tough years, and those first couple of years were really tough, right? When I'm making $7 an hour as a landscape person, and breaking my back, and she's trying to go to school, and she's trying to work and figure out what she's going to do, and working at daycares, and it was a lean existence. It was a rough existence, and we got a lot of it wrong. My oldest son, I told you the other day, he just turned 23. So if I've been married for 26 years, put that together. We did not get married because of a pregnancy. We started our family, and the rest kind of goes from there. So, there's a lot that I'm grateful for. Right, this woman literally saved my life. I've spent many a year trying to corrupt her, and I think I've mostly been successful in corrupting her. She looks at everything and says that I'm putting up with her bullshit for 26 years, and I look at everything and say, no, you're putting up with mine. She is my best friend. She is important to me, and I'm excited because I'm at work right now. It's later in the afternoon. I didn't have the opportunity to record anything on my lunch hour. In fact, it's almost 4 o'clock, coming on 4 o'clock here. I get out at 5, and we are just going to a restaurant for dinner. We're just going to go to a place we like and enjoy a quiet meal with no kids and just the two of us and do our thing. I feel like I really am one of the luckiest people in the world, right? And it's, people say to me, well, Jesus, how do you go 26 years? How does anybody do that? Well, my in-laws were together for 50 something years and still are. I know couples that have been together, that long. I think my oldest brother, I think he and his wife have been married probably 35 years now. It happens. It does work when you find the right person. And, at one point I remember somebody asking me, geez, that's such a long time, man. Haven't you ever been tempted, right? Hasn't there ever been? And I'm like, dude, why would I screw up the perfect thing? There's no, it's not even, I don't understand that mentality. I don't get it, guys. I don't get it. If you are, or it doesn't matter if you're a guy or not, anybody. Why? I get it. We're all humans, and there's a sex drive, and sex is exciting. Okay, but there's more important things. There really are. And this is a person that for some reason seems to find value in me. Why on God's earth? And I'm an agnostic. I don't even know why I'm saying God's earth. Why in this universe would I ever jeopardize that? I just don't understand it. I see people cheat. I see marriages break up. I see people fight over money. And I think, early on, maybe there was a couple years where we never fought over money, but we were stressed over money. And those periods tested us a lot. Can we survive this? Can we make it through? Are we going to be okay? Jobs and job loss and everything else, but never have it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. I really don't. So no, I look. I also like saying another one of my little sayings. I like to say that her particular brand of crazy happens to align perfectly with my particular brand of stupid. Because I am a stupid person. No matter how articulate I may come off in these podcasts, I'm a dumbass. I'm a moron. I don't deserve her. But I will continue working hard to try and feel like I have earned her love, and we go from there. So 25 years in the books. The second batch of 25 begins now. Happy anniversary to you, darling. I love you very much. And for anybody that took the time to listen to this, thank you. I appreciate the time you spent. I really do want to hear from you. Please click that link in the bottom and tell me your story. Send me a message. Tell me who the most important person is in your life, and I want to share your voice on this podcast. That's going to do it for now. I'm going to head back to work, finish out my day, and go and enjoy my anniversary with my wife. Again, appreciate your time. Thanks so much, and wherever you are, hug the person you love, and both of you have a good one.